Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa wala. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us the opportunity to be here today and continue talking about a very important issue related to the life of this ummah and related to the best da'iyah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent to this universe, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I don't know, I think this is the 5th episode about the strategies that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam followed in doing his da'wah. Today I'll talk about a different aspect of the da'wah method that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam followed. You know, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina, he came into a community which is completely different from the Meccan community. This is why he followed completely different approaches, in addition to the strategies that he used to follow in Mecca. Allahumma salli ala Rasulullah. I don't hear you saying Allahumma salli ala Rasulullah. Okay. So when he went to Medina, before he went to Medina, he sent people to propagate Islam, to spread the da'wah among the people of Medina. And Medina is different from Habasha, is different from Mecca, is different from Taif. In the sense it's a metropolitan area with multi-religious groups, different tribes. Quraysh, very one tribe, confined to one idolatrous practices. But in Medina, you have Jews, you have Christians, you have hypocrites, a new group of people emerged that was not in Mecca, that was not before Islam. Those groups were not there before Islam. Okay? So, and the pagans, the people of Medina who used to worship idols. Okay? Medina is located in an open area. It is different in even the ethnographic structure of the people of Medina is different from Mecca. The demography is different. Okay, here it's an area of farming, an oasis. Mecca was different, a business center, a religious center. So the Prophet ﷺ realized all these things when he was going to Medina. And this was taken in consideration from the beginning, that the Prophet ﷺ realized he is dealing with people who respected him, who loved him, who were waiting for him for more than 2 years now. We didn't talk about many aspects of the life of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ because we're focusing on da'wah strategies. So when he came to Medina, even most of the people from Medina didn't know him. Until Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu took a piece of cloth, his rida, and took it as a shade for Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. They realized that that was the Prophet. There were no pictures of the Prophet ﷺ. There were no TV coverage. No media was there. Okay, but the Malaika were there. Allah was observing what was going there. You see, so it was the best mission ever, and the best missionee ever to come to Medina, to come to this universe. Allahumma salli ala Rasulullah. So the Prophet ﷺ realized how much those people loved him, to the extent that every group of people wanted, because they were competing tribes even before the advent of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. They were fighting. There were rivalries, okay, having revenge against each other's. See? And the Prophet realized that. So if he would stay with one group, they think, oh, he's aligning with another group against another. And he said, I will leave the decision to my she-camel, Dawah فَإِنَّهَا مَأْمُورَةٌ. Leave it. It will find its way. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided for the place where it will be set. Okay? And that place will be the place of the mosque, the masjid. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Jazakum Allah khair." Every group will say, "We'll protect you, O Prophet of Allah. We'll give you everything that you want. These are our farm. This is our land. These are our castles. These are our swords and armory. Those are men. This is our money. We'll give you everything." Allahu Akbar. I want you to imagine the situation. This is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved the Ansar, and every Muslim should love the Ansar. Any Muslim who has anything in his heart about the Ansar is not a true Muslim, he's a hypocrite.
Allahu Akbar.
ولهذا the Prophet ﷺ said, اللهم ارحم الأنصار وأبناء الأنصار وأبناء أبناء الأنصار. He said, oh Allah, shower your mercy on the Ansar and their offsprings. And the Prophet ﷺ said, by Allah, if I were not from Quraysh, I would be from the Ansar. If it's my choice, for this is something that we realize how much the Prophet ﷺ loved those people, how much they played in his life and our lives. So they were giving everything for the sake of Allah, for the sake of protecting Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, for the sake of supporting his da'wah. It's this very important juncture. At that moment, the people were persecuted in Mecca. He was kicked out from Taif. Some of his people were in the seeking refuge in Habasha, in Abyssinia, in Ethiopia, in your country. You see, brother? So, if you look, and they were having no safe abode, no safe refuge that they go to. And those people are saying, here, we'll fight against all people, we'll protect you. We'll give everything that we can for the sake of Allah. So the Prophet realized those people. And many of them are non-Muslims. But because your village, your people, your tribe loved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and you're part of those people, we've got to stand with them. Even the non-Muslims at that time were happy with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Some of them even didn't accept his da'wah. And the Prophet ﷺ realized that there are many sympathizers, and this is what we should have in da'wah. There are many people who sympathize with Islam. Sometimes because of the propaganda that is going around during the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, during our time, and will continue forever. This is the nature of the truth. It has to be opposed by people of conflicting interests. Conflicting interests. And it would take time until the end of time. Take place until the end of time. So the Prophet ﷺ said, leave it, because I thank you, I respect what you do. But Allah is the one who's guiding me where I go. And He's given them a lesson from the beginning. Da'wah, brothers, is for Muslims and non-Muslims. You see, sometimes I think da'wah is for non-Muslims. It's not true. We need da'wah more than others. Okay? So the Prophet ﷺ was giving them a lesson. That it's not me who's really controlling everything. It's not me who is deciding everything. It is Allah. He himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who decided for Muhammad to be a prophet. Not himself. You see? For he was really emphasizing the point of trusting Allah, relying on Allah, that having this perspective that it is Allah indeed who is in control. We should obey Allah from the beginning and the commandments of Allah, and whatever Allah decides, we should really accept. He was putting that in their hearts. And until this camel landed in a place, and that place was owned by orphans. Two orphans of Medina. Everybody wanted to give him something for free. He said, no, we'll buy this place. Even the orphans said, no, we'll buy it from. See how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'd like to search who are those orphans. I don't know their names, but it's in the land of Bani Najjar, in the middle of Yathrib. Its name changed to be Medina. What is the meaning of Medina? The city. The city, yes. The city. Okay, and the city with indefinite, okay, means city. But when you mention this name, everybody in the world knows what that city is. If you say the city anywhere, they will tell you which city you're talking about, with the exception of Medina. You know, you see, subhanallah. This is elevation. It is the city. It is the city. Allahumma salli ala habibillah. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam realized that the community is different, the people are different. We have Jews, people of the book. We have conflicting tribes. We have Muslims. We have non-Muslims. And you have people who are really having some doubts about Muhammad, about Islam. What's going to happen to us? Our children are becoming Muslims. We're not. Some people whose interest is in conflict, was in conflict with Islam, okay, with the Prophet ﷺ, like Abdullah ibn Abi Salul. So they started forming a party that was not there before. a party of nifaq, a party of hypocrisy, hypocrites. So the Jews were expecting a prophet to come from among themselves, and they were giving the glad tidings to the people, say, hey, we came here to Medina, because they moved from Palestine, from Sham, from all this land, Syria, all over to Medina, based on the Torah, that there's Paran, the land surrounded by trees, and a prophet will come. They say, when the prophet will come, we'll kill you. They're talking to the Ansar, okay, to the people of Medina, when the prophet. So, but when the Prophet ﷺ was emerged and he was not a Jew, they started raising enmity. And the Prophet ﷺ was having that in mind. And this is why the first thing the Prophet ﷺ did, he was bringing all those people together. He brought them all together. Yes, now he's having power. His followers are very strong. They may not be very many, but they were very influential. They were ready to give everything. They were ready to sacrifice. And they realized that. So they are really accepting the reality. They are submitting to it. But the Prophet ﷺ didn't use power to suppress those people. He used power to unite those people. Subhanallah. Every power in this universe has what they call it, Allahumma salli, a controlling methodology, which is divide to conquer, divide to control, with the exception of Islam. It says unite to control. And this is the approach that the Prophet ﷺ followed. We need to look at these things. He tried to unite all those people. Because you could continue to be a Jew, it's up to you. You don't have to be a Muslim if you don't want to. If you want to be a hypocrite, it's up to you. We don't know about you. We just see what you do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of your heart and what you intend. Okay? If you want to be Muslims and true Muslims, you've got to accept all these groups, regardless of the division that among them or the enmity that they have. It's up to them. This is the reality. You've got to accept it. And we deal with it Islamically, not based on our own whims and the reasoning. So the Prophet brought all those people together. And he wrote down the first what? Document in history that gives those people the right to live in harmony, in peace. So, it is a constitution, the constitution of the Muslim state. Islam could accept all people, as long as they live according to the constitution of Islam. So you're Jews, you could have your religion, but you shouldn't interfere in the Islamic way of life. You will be protected. You will have your rights. You have the freedom to practice your own religion. But don't raise enmity against Islam or cooperate. Make treason with the enemies of Islam. Because the Prophet ﷺ knew Quraysh were not going to leave him alone. Other groups would not let him alone. Impossible. Because Islam has come to liberate. And they wanted to keep people enslaved to themselves, to the tribe, to the chieftains, to the dogmas. And Islam came to liberate people, to let them only submit to Allah, to be enslaved by their Lord and Creator, not anybody else. So the Prophet ﷺ, along with them, wrote the first constitution, and everybody signed constitution and agreed upon its own terms. So this is the first, I think, whatever the Prophet ﷺ, because he's the da'iyah. He's a da'iyah. He's a da'iyah. يا أيها المزمل قم فانذر يا أيها المدثر قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه then إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا. So your job is to do مبشرا إنا وما أرسلناك إلا مبشرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. He is not a political leader. Although he's doing a lot of politics, this part of Islam. But your first mission, you are a real da'ih. Your work is da'wah. This is a great da'wah strategy that the Prophet ﷺ did. He united people. Told them that, hey, I call to Islam, but you can't keep your religion. You could be a Jew. Hey, if you don't want to become a Muslim, you don't have to be a Muslim. Many of the companions of the Prophet, great companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in Medina, did not become a Muslim in the beginning. Like Abu Darda, he became Muslim after Badr. Okay? And many other companions. Even some non-Muslims were very sad when the Muslim army was defeated in Uhud. Although they were not Muslim. The Munafiqs were very happy. But the non-Muslims were not happy. They were very sad. Because they felt peace. They felt that they were treated like human beings. Okay? So this is a great da'wah strategy that Prophet ﷺ applied. It was the first constitution in history that would bring people from different walks of life, different tribes, different religions into one unit, one community regardless of their differences. And that was the basis of the da'wah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Unite to disseminate, to liberate, not divide to conquer and control. And this will stop here, inshallah. We'll go into another episode where we'll talk about another aspect of the da'wah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, another strategy that he applied when he was in Medina.